of marketing feeling like an uphill battle full of algorithms, ads, and empty numbers? You're in the right place. I'm Larissa Werstiek, founder of Joy Joya, a woman-run marketing agency that helps jewelry brands thrive through compelling stories and authentic connections. For more than 8 years, I've been elevating jewelry businesses of all sizes by focusing on heartfelt narratives and strategic content. Think of this podcast as your weekly marketing huddle. Whether you're sipping a latte or tackling your to-do list, I'm here to guide you. Let's toss aside the one-size-fits-all playbook and create a marketing strategy as unique as your brand. You bring the vision and I'll help you shine in a sea of sparkle. Welcome to episode 320. Well, it finally happened, sparklers. The TikTok ban that's been looming for a while took effect, even though it lasted for less than 24 hours. Late on Saturday, January 18th, visitors to the app got a message that said, "Sorry, TikTok isn't available right now. A law banning TikTok has been enacted in the US. Unfortunately, that means you can't use TikTok for now." It was almost comical how quickly the app came back, and I felt kind of terrible for the creators and businesses who depend so heavily on TikTok for their livelihoods and for connecting with their audience, as many of these people assume that TikTok was actually gone for good, or at least for a little bit longer than 24 hours. And ever since then, there's been more unfavorable news about Meta, like removing third-party fact checkers, reducing moderation on Meta's platforms, and reintroducing algorithmic recommendations for political content. Critics of Meta's recent changes are worried that this will encourage unchecked hate speech, misinformation, and increased harassment of marginalized communities, while also calling advertisers to pull away. I even saw jewelry artist Judy Geib recently announced in an Instagram post. She said, "I'm stopping IG. It's been a wonderful platform and I'll miss it, but I can't continue to support tech billionaires who are enabling the fall of civilization as we know it." End quote. All of this points to a chaotic time in the social media world. As a business, how do you navigate these shifts? Should you jump ship? In this episode, I want to give you 3 concrete steps to help you prepare for whatever lies ahead, so you don't have to panic if the social media landscape changes even more dramatically as we move forward through this year. And also stay tuned for the Goldmine segment, where I'll be talking about how to tackle those less fun, easy to avoid tasks, and why facing them head on now can make or break your business down the road. But before we dive in, a quick reminder, this podcast is available in both audio and video formats. You can listen on your favorite podcast platform or watch on YouTube by searching Joy Joya. Support the podcast by subscribing and leaving a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. It's free and greatly appreciated. And if you didn't know, I also co-host another podcast, Success with Jewelry, with my friend Liz Kantner, a fellow jewelry marketer and founder of the Stay Gold Collective. We offer a free version on all podcast platforms and YouTube, plus a membership community with extended episodes and extra resources. All right, let's dive into today's episode, my sparklers. So what shall we do? We're also reliant on social media platforms to connect with our audience members, and that's where many of us have built our communities, extended our reach, cultivated fans, made sales, coordinated collaborations, created opportunities for our businesses, and much more. How could you not feel dependent on platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook? My podcast partner, Liz, and I were recently recording an episode of the Success with Jewelry podcast for our insider bonus content, and she made a really great point. Instagram right now is no longer the Instagram of 2012, let's say, which used to feel so cozy and happy. It's kind of hard to believe that that was 13 whole years ago. But with how fast the economy and customer behavior changes, now sometimes in just a few months, if you're still hanging out in that super friendly 2012 version of social media, well, I'm honestly kind of jealous because, hey, living in that dreamy bubble sounds pretty sweet, but it's just not the reality anymore. So I want to share 3 action items you can start rolling out now so that you won't feel nervous about the uncertain future of social media. I've often said many times before that you can't rely solely on these platforms, and you shouldn't put yourself in the position of being reliant on these platforms. But by creating a plan to cut back the dependence, while it's no small feat and while it takes both time and strategy, it will free you up and give you options. It might be tough to envision life without spending all the time and effort that you do on these apps, but the brief TikTok ban really showed us all that it can just disappear in an instant. Okay, so action item number 1. You're going to want to build your email or SMS list immediately. Right away. You need to start growing your email list. It absolutely blows my mind how many jewelry brands are still not taking this seriously. Yes, it requires strategy. It requires time. It requires effort and consistency. But the future of your business, if you rely on digital platforms, especially social platforms, the future literally depends on it. The brands that will stand the test of time are the ones that build first-party data, and that can only happen if you work consistently and stick to it. So you need to begin getting creative about moving people off social media and onto your list. Maybe that's a monthly gift card giveaway or a drawing for a lower-priced piece. Yes, that costs you something, but the data is worth it. Consider hosting in-person events or participating in more in-person opportunities this year where it will be easier to collect email addresses. And also be transparent about why you want to connect off of social media. The more authentic you are, the more your audience will understand the value of joining your list. If you're not doing this already, I literally want you to pause this episode and go brainstorm right now. Unless you're driving or something. You need to figure out how you'll attract new signups and set small, concrete goals, even if it means trying to get 5 new subscribers this week. If email isn't your thing, that's okay too. You can focus on growing an SMS or text message list, but either way, you gotta be building that list. And here's a side note about this first action item as well. If you already have an email marketing plan, you're encouraging people to sign up, you're getting regular signups, and you have a decent sized list, make sure your messages are both consistent and compelling. Now's the time to step it up. Just because you have a list doesn't mean the work's been done. You need to offer real value, connect through email or SMS, share stories, and avoid being 100% product focused all the time. You have the creativity to keep your subscribers genuinely excited to hear from you. So I want to see you using that creativity. Okay, action item number 2. While you're still on social media, get to the heart and fast. So what do I mean by that? Social platforms are really this revolving door of new viewers, returning followers who might not have seen your posts in ages, and then all of a sudden, the algorithm puts you at the top of their feed, and they just forgot who you are. So every single piece of content that you share on social media moving forward needs to somehow quickly convey who you are and what you stand for. People may only catch one reel or photo or carousel from you, really, and then never see you again. So don't assume that they already know your brand story. I want you to weave core elements of that story, your mission, your craftsmanship, your values somehow into each post. And on top of that, make sure you have a clear and compelling call to action every time. Be guiding them to your website, encourage them to DM you, invite them to leave a comment. Suggest that they sign up for your email list and make it compelling. Give them a really good reason why this is worth their time. Then deepen those connections. Respond to every comment and message. Ask follow-up questions and spark real conversations. You want to personally be inviting people into your world and make that a really cool and interesting place for them to spend their time. Maybe you're inviting them to an in-person event, a consultation, your new collection launch, first access to a new drop. In 2025, listen up. Simply posting pretty jewelry photos or videos over and over is not enough. Your content should instantly signal your brand identity and give people a reason to stick around or reach out to you or visit your website or do something besides just assuming they're going to see more, because they probably won't. And then action item number 3, I want you to lean into in-person activations and events. There's nothing like face-to-face time to form that real human connection. When people can see your work in person, try it on, hear your passion and your story firsthand, it sets you apart in a way that social media, not even your email, not even your website can't touch. Not even close. Does not compare. If someone falls in love with your jewelry while you're standing right there talking about how you source your materials or handcraft each piece, that's a deeper bond than any like on Instagram or TikTok can create. Plus, events, as I mentioned earlier, naturally lead to that exchange that helps you collect email addresses and build that first-party data when you're doing a pop-up trunk show or joining a local market or whatever kind of in-person event it is. So even if you don't make the sale right there, they've already met you and they know who you are. If you're nervous about the logistics, start small. Maybe you host a cozy open house in your studio, collaborate with a local boutique to share space, or team up with other creatives to split the work. The key is to create an experience that feels special and really makes an impression on the people who choose to attend so that they feel like they're part of your inner circle. And remember too, the photos, videos, other assets that you get from in-person events are also gold for your social media feeds, for your email newsletters, for your blog posts. Everyone loves a behind-the-scenes look at the real in-person connections that make your brand unique. And trust me, FOMO is a real thing. Once people see all the fun that you and your customers are having out there in the real world, they will be determined not to miss your next event. So what do you think? Have you tried any of these strategies, like hosting in-person events or building your email list yet? I'd love to hear about your experiences, so drop a comment on YouTube or shoot me a DM on Instagram. All right, sparklers, it's time for the gold mine, where I share personal stories from my entrepreneurial journey and connect them to impactful marketing lessons. In this week's gold mine, I want to talk about those parts of your business that feel annoying or tough, because we all have them, even though you know they need attention. For me, I'm going to be honest, it's sales. Right now in my business, even though I have a team, I'm the only one who can handle sales. Everyone else is busy delivering client services or creating marketing materials. So all of that is on me, even though I don't love it. What I really enjoy is creating strategy for my clients, and I'm still really active in that day-to-day work, but I have to set aside time for sales every single day, because if I don't, guess what? There's no business and there's no money to pay my team. Of course, there are times we're so slammed that I'm totally spent and end up neglecting sales every so often. But the reason I'm sharing this is because even though my role might look a little different than your role as a jewelry business owner, we're all dealing with the same problem here. We know we have to do things like planning beyond social media, but other tasks, maybe tasks that feel easier or more familiar or more fun, like making jewelry or helping customers, they often take over our time. And then the things we know we need to do to keep our business afloat, they actually get pushed aside. But as I said earlier in this episode, something like relying solely on social media can really be a life or death scenario for your brand. And if you're not carving out time to take consistent action, trying out some of the things that I mentioned in this episode, even if it's just a few times a week or you dedicate a couple hours one day, you could really wake up one day and realize you're in trouble. I don't want to say that to scare you, but I think it's important for me to tell you that because it's real. It's a possibility. It's like if I went 6 months without doing any sales, which would be really easy for me to do because I could just be like, I don't feel like doing this, or I have a million other things to do. One morning, I'd wake up and say, oh shit, we haven't had any new clients for a while. And suddenly I'd need more revenue and be in trouble. But at that point, I wouldn't have planted any new seeds. And it's really hard to recover from that. It's not impossible, but it's really hard. And you don't want to put yourself in a similar position because you're avoiding the less pleasant tasks that you know you need to be doing. So if you're really serious about your business, you really also have to be serious about future-proofing it. Doing those annoying, difficult things today so that you'll be protected tomorrow and not wake up and wonder, what the F? Does that resonate with you? Are you trying to carve out time every week to do some of these less than glamorous, not so fun things? I'd love to know. If you found today's episode helpful, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a future jewelry. Share it with a fellow jewelry friend or a future jewelry friend. And that's it for today. If you want to reach out, you can always email me Larissa, LARYSSA @joyjoya.com. If you love this podcast, please share it with a friend who'd appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe as well as leave a review on Apple Podcasts. If you're completely new to digital marketing, then you'll want to get a copy of my book, Jewelry Marketing Joy. Visit joyjoya.com/book for more information.